Today's episode is brought to you by HID Mobile Access, the most secure and convenient way to open doors with the device you already use every day. With HID, organizations get flexible, future-ready solutions that easily integrate into workplace and tenant experience apps, creating a seamless journey from street to suite. If you're ready to modernize your access control experience, try it for yourself. Sign up for a free trial at hidglobal.com/solutions and click on Mobile Access.
In this episode of Founders, we sit down with the founder of SmartSpaces, Dan Drogman. SmartSpaces is a UK-based company redefining how people connect with the modern workplace. We talk about how they've taken user experience beyond the reader and why access control is part of a much bigger story. It's a look inside the mindset of founders preparing security professionals for a world where the workplace feels as intuitive as your smartphone. All right, so I am here with Dan Drogman from SmartSpaces. When I go through my research, I try to distill what I've learned into a paragraph. So I'm going to read this paragraph to you, and you tell me, did I miss the mark, or does this get you pretty much spot on?
Okay.
So SmartSpaces, a London-based workplace experience and smart building platform that connects people to their buildings via a single app. The platform unifies mobile access, desk and room booking, energy and lighting control, tenant engagement, and building communications. SmartSpaces frequently operates in Class A office environments and high-profile developments, positioning its solution as a layer that turns traditional buildings into intuitive, digitally orchestrated workplaces. Does that sound right?
That. It's actually, can I get a copy of that?
Yeah, I will definitely give that to you.
We've got a presentation tomorrow and was working on it before I came in here. And actually, that's more succinct than I'd put it. So
nice.
Brilliant.
So what is the origin of SmartSpaces? Like, why bring all of these disparate building systems together, and sort of what's the origin story?
Yeah, how far do you want me to go back?
As far back as you think is relevant. Like, when did you get bit by the radioactive spider? Right?
100%. Yeah. So I suppose it was my dad that got me and my brother into technology. So my dad was a printer. And obviously, he see the demise of print over time, getting replaced by digital. And he said, it's been a declining industry for such a long time. And he started at the top, when hot metal press, everything was done through the press. Printer was really regarded as a great career and job. And he see the demise of that. And so he got us into technology very young. And I think the personal computer in the 80s when I grew up was becoming extremely popular. And the first one we got was a 286. Had no operating system other than DOS. So everything was command line. So he used to leave
green screen.
Yeah, exactly. So he'd leave me and my brother scripts that we had to execute to play our games and so on. So that got me into coding at a young age.
How old were you then?
I was about 7.
Wow.
Yeah. So, or maybe it's even younger. Maybe about 7. Because I think it's about 1987. Yeah. And so, that's sort of where my fan for technology sort of was embedded, really. That's when I really got into tech. It just got more and more geeky, I think, as time went on. But when I got to high school, I had an innate ability for IT. So I aced all my IT related GCSEs and used to help my friends do their own homework. I think I might have hacked the school network a couple of times, changed my teacher to computer to a hot dog theme, the red and yellow. Do you remember that on Windows 3.11 or Windows 95?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's an eye-bleeding colour palette. So lots of fun doing that. But then funny enough, when I actually come to leaving school, that was sort of an innate ability I had in the coding side of things. I actually ended up wanting to go into graphic design because I was more passionate about that at the time. The personal computing and the programming was just sort of, that's just what I'm good at. But I really got a passion for design. And so I ended up leaving school and going straight to university. There was a specialist degree at the London College of Print. What's the irony there? So, my dad was a printer. I go to London College of Print, and it was in the dot-com boom one, so about 98. I was going to study web design, but the degree was a graphic media Bachelor of Arts with honours. And so, I started into a BTEC, which was the equivalent to A-levels. And what that meant was I skipped a year where I didn't have to do a foundation year. So when I graduated, actually, I was sort of a year younger than most of my peers in the market, which is always good. I'm always think you've got to get into a career,
Get in as early as you can.
Yeah, exactly. All these years out and stuff to go travelling. I'm not sure if you want to try and delay that to a bit later, I think, personally. I think in those early years, you really need to get, your foot on the ladder for your career. And so I then left university and worked for my dad for about a year because I couldn't get a job because the dot-com bust had happened. So the salary expectations are divided by about 5, I think. But working for my dad, he made life hell. He had me in like dark rooms shooting ads for magazines and stuff because he didn't want me to stay in print. And then I kept applying for job after job. And then this graphic design agency hired me. And they were working in real estate. And they worked for brands like Knight Frank. And some of the clients that we still have retained in the business today, actually, which is great. And so I've sort of come in and really, I was there to do some web design, but where we ended up was just creating applications. Obviously, the smartphone hadn't become a thing yet, and so everything was web-based. And so we built data rooms to sell hotels for Knight Frank. Yeah. So you'd log in and we'd track everything you did and we'd build you a profile, like a CRM.
Yeah.
And so the investor could look and say, oh, cool, these guys have been looking at this hotel a lot and they've forwarded the link to a lot of people. It's like a sort of a HubSpot style thing.
Right.
Before its time, but with a secure data room where you could have like Excel files of the salaries of the people in the hotel, the P&L, everything was in this data room for you to be able to acquire it. And so that started to build out into its own department. And then flex offices was a thing. Regis started and there was a few new entrants in the market. And one of them got introduced to me as a client. They owned actually the Centre Point Tower. I don't know if you know that one in London.
Sure.
It's a very famous brutalist architecture tower, amongst others. And they come to us and said, look, we'd really like a booking system, but it needs to have payments associated with it because we have members of the public want to use the space. And so they need to be able to book a room and pay for it. And so we built that system. And that landlord, funny enough, would spend a lot of time. And actually, I've skipped a bit of the story here where the funniest bit of the story probably is, so then I've got this job, got this career. My brother had done a similar career path or education path, and he'd just graduated a couple of years after me at Camberwell College of Art, doing a similar degree, like a web design degree. Again, ace at maths, like he'd managed to get his A star for maths a year early. So at age 14.
Wow.
So he had that locked in. Actually, it was quite good for him because we had one less GCSE to do. And we're at home at the dinner table, and to make money, I worked in a supermarket, which I must admit made me want to go and get a proper career even more. Whereas
That's a great motivator.
Yeah, no, 100%. Whereas my brother was an electrician. Oh. And he was fitting like kitchens and cabling all these kitchens up and earning a lot of money, probably earning more than I was in my career. And I got to the dinner table and I said, oh, look, and actually this is a couple of years have gone by now. So now I'm like the manager of my department. And I had someone go on maternity leave. And I said, I've got some maternity cover. Would you like to come in? And he went, yeah, believe it or not, he goes, as much as I'm making more money as an electrician, I'm not enjoying it. And yeah, I'd love to. I really want to practice what I went to university. I want to do something vocational. So he joined me and I'd like set aside 2 weeks worth of work for him. And set him up, got him on the PC and everything. And about 2 hours later, he come back to me and yeah, I've done that. I was like, really? I think the first thing was, I'm lucky I'm the manager because he'll be replacing me. And I was like, wow. And so I just kept feeding him stuff. And then we started working with this landlord doing the booking system, building the booking system. And the landlord was really nice. And he ended up taking me and my brother out for a beer. Irish guy, real character. And Steve Finnegan, I'll give him a plug, at Unity working now. And he said, look, I've never met your bosses or the owners of the business, but I've really enjoyed the work you do. What if I gave you an office in London and you paid your rent by working on our platform? And I was like, that sounds like a good idea. Mm-hmm. And it was funny because they were a really premium brand. the offices that they were offering me and my brother were about 100 times better than the offices our employers had. And they were so great guys, like Kevin and Gary, who run GKA. I wouldn't be here without them. They were a great. Actually, when me and my brother, and that's quite harsh because obviously we both had to hand our notice in together because
at the same time,
he's coming with me. So that was a big blow to the company. But they said, look, to be honest with you, we knew you was going to do it one day. We thought it might be a bit later, but look, we wish you the best. And they even carved out some clients we could take with us. They said, look, we can't service these clients because it's all app based and we want to just stick to the web design. And so, they gave us some clients, and some of these clients we're still working for today, which is amazing. And so that was the birth of what was called D2. Drogman and Drogman, D2 Interactive, we were called. Some of our contracts for SmartSpaces apps still have that on there. And so, but we were coders for hire. We didn't really have much of a business plan. We just was building this tech in real estate way before prop tech came along as a term. And I must admit, I did throw up when I heard that. And it was funny because we worked out of similar to a WeWork, this flex office. We had this little box, and then that box become like a room, and then that room become a floor. But in those years, all your the breakout areas are very social. And so you meet tons of other businesses, and it was the boom of web applications. And it turned out that every other tenant of this building wanted some kind of web app. Was really good in terms of bringing revenue in, but dangerous because I was going through that late 20s, early 30s, where we think we can do everything.
Right.
And so we ended up building platforms to list exchange traded funds. Back then you have so much stamina and energy. You become an expert in the field of ETFs. I now trade my own portfolio of ETFs because I'm pretty good at it, because we built these huge databases for companies like WisdomTree, huge US. And I got to meet, I think it's Jonathan Steinberg, I think, I'm getting it wrong, but the CEO of WisdomTree, and his wife, Maria Bartiromo, who's Fox News. And so we got really into these industries, but then we'd do the same in recruitment. We even built a vets platform. And I think the vet platform we built, which, you could basically book any kind of treatment you needed, pay for it, track it. We definitely poured so many hours that actually when we got paid for that, we would have made a loss. But because it was just covering me and my brother's salaries, we didn't. But they would have got a 200 grand system for about 7K or something. And so, and we had loads of these systems, and some took off more than others. And one that really took off was we done one for chartered surveyors to list their commercial properties. And we built the sort of matching engine, as you like, for disposals and acquisitions, which is like a marketplace today in the UK, which another company's taken on, but that was hugely popular. And then we built a peer-to-peer foreign exchange platform, and we listed that on the TSX Venture Exchange in Canada. And that was a matching engine that would match currency trades in chains to reduce the liquidity trade. So you only had to go to the bank just to close off the book and release all the money to various different people on the platform. Wow. And we thought we were geniuses there. We're like, wow, this is our billionaire moment. So we built the matching engine. Took about 2 years to build, and we'd built out the team by now. We're about 20 of us, and we have quite cleverly actually. David Wong, who's the CEO, he'd already got the platform live, but it wasn't doing the matching. It was just taking orders and taking them to the bank, just so we didn't start with no customers. We already had a customer base. And so we were getting all these trades, we were matching them with the bank, and we switched the matching engine on and we'd do a match. When we went to get the liquidity trade, the basis point spread was so much greater because we were trading less. It was actually more than just turning it off and going to the bank and doing it. The banks had it rigged. Yep. We were extremely naive. And that was a moment of inflection where we were like, right, we really need to get serious about the things we're best at rather than trying to do everything.
Right.
And we looked at our portfolio, and the two strongest things were the booking systems for the flex operators and for the offices, and actually in that time we'd built MarriottMeetingRooms.com. So we'd become experts in meeting room bookings, multilingual, multi-currency. And we've done this for all the hotel chains, which were still taking bookings on pads and stuff, which was crazy.
Sure.
But then we had the chartered surveyor software. We were probably making more money at the time from the chartered surveying software, but I'd done a market analysis and could see that there's not that many chartered surveyors on the planet. And, some of these platforms ended up being huge, didn't they? So, Rightmove and so on. So maybe it was a bit naive there as well. But also the ones that we enjoyed the most, and we enjoyed the bookings actually, weirdly. And I think that's because working on the Marriott project, we got introduced to Apple. And Apple just had their offices above their store in Regent Street. And we got into the iBeacon program.
Oh.
So we,
What year was this?
This is 2012.
Yeah, wow.
So there you could obviously bring someone's booking up when they enter a venue and so on. And I think the guy that introed us to the iBeacon become the CEO of Nest and then sold that for billions or something. So that was quite cool. And so we then decided, right, I think we're going to double down on the platform, the portal. But we built a lot of these portals. And the funny thing was, before the app came along, was that we built one for Heinz, actually, for this big business park they owned in the UK. And I got on really well with the asset manager that asked us to build it. And we poured so much time into this. Again, probably made a loss on the first version. And it went live, and about 6 months in, the asset manager was at pains to say to me, like, we built this and no one uses it, like no one's logging in. And we're like, yeah, in reality, like if I took a lease in this office and I've got this portal and I'm trying to run my business, why on earth am I ever going to log into this portal? And so we were starting to panic, actually, thinking maybe we've made the wrong choice. And then one of our landlord clients, GPE, which is still a client today, got the app deployed across their portfolio. They come to us and said, look, we really need a better way to communicate with our tenants. We think the app you've built for the business parks you work on would be a good fit. And we also were doing some in retail as well. And I said, yeah, but we need to find a hook. We need something that's going to get people to want to have this as part of their day. And one of our clients, James Pellet, coined the term the toothbrush effect. You have to use it at least twice a day. And so we were looking at what sort of functionality that would be. And naturally, mobile access was one. Visitor management was another one. Booking the spaces was another one. Car parking. And so we built out the app. And actually, one of the things they did, which was really cool, is they sort of unleashed just on their portfolio and said, look, these are the assets we think would best fit a product like this. Just go and meet the building team and ask them what their pains are. So we went down there and literally trying to have this interview with the building manager. And every 2 minutes, the radio is going off saying, can you change set point on floor 4 to 20 Celsius? Can you change set point on floor 5? And just kept interrupting our meeting. And I was like, wow, you take a lot of temperature requests. Can they not just do it on the thermostat? They went, no, this building's got chilled beams. It's a sophisticated, smart building. I was like, yeah, but surely you can like delegate some control. It's like, yeah, but they would be able to change the range between 18 Celsius to 30 Celsius, wreck the energy profile of the building. So, okay. So they opened all the risers up. And this is a weird innate ability me and my brother got with we could even just look at the risers, look up the manufacturer, and then we look at the protocols that communicate. So we can talk to that controller in the riser and we can control the temperature. And so actually quite funny, the first version of our app we deployed might even have had more functionality than we've got in our app today. We've probably taken more out than we've added in a weird way. And so, yeah, we could eliminate those calls down by giving people the control, but we parameterized it.
Yep.
So you could only change Celsius.
Got some guardrails in place.
Down. Yeah.
And I would imagine then the evolution sort of happens very rapidly.
Yeah.
From there, you start to say, all right, well, what other things in the building can I communicate with and make it make sense for the user? Now, were you focused mainly on the landlord as the user or the person with the phone, like the person that's actually interacting with the building?
That's a great question. The person with the phone. Yeah. Because they're the one paying the rent. And so they're the one that's the ultimate customer that you've got to serve and they've got to be happy. And so we've always prioritized that person.
And so now what else, what all are you bringing in? Like what sensor data are you making sense of?
Everything, really. So, you're talking about the access, mobile access, the visitor management, the HVAC, the lighting, any sensors that are in the building, the lifts, energy meters, everything. But then also things like the till data on like the for catering, the bookings. And one of the best things we have is we have the bookings and the intelligence around whether someone's occupied the space or not. So we can right size rooms based on the history of that previous meeting. We can cancel it if it goes to an online meeting late in the day. We can make sure there's the right catering provisions. We can make sure you've got the right layout of the room. All the stuff we've done cutting our teeth in meeting rooms has become very valuable. And right down for now for desk booking, when COVID come along, we panicked and was like, wow, business could be over. And actually it ended up being the complete opposite. We grew 67% in that period.
Can you talk to that point? Because we were talking about that earlier, on another session where a lot of the industry, I think, has moved. Like COVID was, it moved the needle in so many ways. But how did it move the needle for SmartSpaces?
Yeah, so we were already doing the mobile access, but it's great the way we were doing it. We were taking NFC stickers, putting a door ID on them, and then authenticating over the API and unlocking the door through an API. And we had our own rules and permissions and security around that. And the reason we had to do that is because none of the readers had the right chipset to enable mobile. But we had this in a really great film that we'd had produced, which had the mobile access with the NFC marker and Bluetooth beacon, but that wasn't so accurate. It had the control of the temperature, lighting and stuff. Well, all of this stuff we're doing is on your own device, which makes the building contactless. So you haven't got to touch the thermostat. You haven't got to touch an access pass or a lift panel. So we're in the perfect position. And so, that meant that every landlord, when we were already working with a few, but everyone was like, we need this. And so we were running around London, upgrading or retrofitting buildings. I think where things changed, we managed just at the tail end of COVID to land 22 Bishopsgate, which is quite a famous skyscraper in the world now. And this was a skyscraper which rapidly adapted to the new ways of working just in its last year of being built. But we knew even when we built the original NFC tagging that mobile access, it needed to be better security, better. And so we'd already done the work with yourselves to have the mobile pass with Bluetooth, and that actually exploded. I mean, we had a very forward-thinking landlord at AXA called Harry Badham, who turned around and said, "We're not going to allow plastic cards."
Wow!
And back then, these big brands moving into the building, they would go crazy to try and stop them from making them.
What was the reaction to that from the tenant's perspective?
He was quite clever because he sort of almost made them think like they'd be crazy not to use it. That he said, this is a future building. This is the new way of working. Why would you want to go backwards and use plastic cards? And a lot of them eventually, and I think the other thing is that they meant our business was scrutinized for cybersecurity by all these huge brands. And once they got comfortable that we'd use best practices, and again, this comes back to building systems like the booking systems for big hotel chains, PCI DSS, to process credit cards, that's far greater accreditation to get than even things like SOC 2 Type 2.
Sure.
So we had those accreditations and had the all the information required to make these companies comfortable. So that once we got past that, and then what's happened actually, which was quite funny, is that we got 100% of everyone using it through the turnstiles, the lockers, the lifts, everywhere you needed to have a pass for the landlord space. But a few tenants would still go with the plastic cards in their space, and I think as of recently, we've managed to get them all to come over onto mobile now. And a lot of it's the viral effect of just seeing colleagues get in and out or having to switch from phone to card.
So talk me through that piece of it. So, okay, the building owner says, you know what, we're all in on SmartSpaces. We get everything that you do. Now we get to the tenant space. If the tenant then says, well, I want to participate too. How do they make that happen if the access control system is different in their space than in the building space? Yeah,
I think something that really helped us is that a lot of landlords in the UK do design and build contracts, which they have a specification that doesn't name brands. It's what they expect the building to be able to perform. It's energy rating, how long it takes someone for a lift to arrive for someone, how long it takes them to get in through the entrance, what mediums of technology they're going to use to navigate the building, which means that every main contractor gets to choose their own products, and typically they go for the cheaper end of the market, or there's some deals done where they choose probably a product their friend likes and so on. So it's so we had to work with a real mix of different systems from day one. And so when we wrote the system from the scratch because we'd cut our teeth in property, multi-tenanted, can have many different systems in the building. And so we were already perfectly positioned for that. Where we was doing that for landlords across multiple buildings, in one building vertically, we could have 14 different systems.
Right.
And so, we already had that in the base platform to be able to bridge landlord and tenant.
Now, obviously, cut your teeth in the UK, push into the United States now.
Yeah.
How different do you see the two markets, or are they more similar than we would think?
I'll tell you what's blowing my mind. So, some projects the quickest we can turn projects around typically is a couple of weeks. But we work on huge, large-scale office developments, and you might be working on this for 2 years because you're coming in so early. With the project we worked on quite recently in Boston International Place, from the contract being signed for us to deploy and go live was 6 weeks.
That's it.
With wallet credentials.
That's huge.
And what other systems are you incorporating in that project?
So we actually got bookings in the platform as well. So there's some fantastic amenity within there. It's the comms platform between the landlord and the tenants, VMS. It's a big project.
Wow.
Yeah. So the great thing is, I think, was that now we've gone through integrating with so many systems, the documentation we could supply to the integrator. And the integrators made us look like heroes, to be honest with you. They've put all the mob keys on the readers. They made sure the API was installed with the right license. I actually sent them both. I hope it made to them. I've never managed to hear back whether it did. And I want to try and find out later this week. Because I sent both the guys at the integrators a bottle of Redbreast Irish whiskey, which is a really good Irish whiskey.
Yeah, it certainly is. To
say thanks for they made us look good.
So I want to drill down on that because I think the assumption in the security industry in general is a new market entrant. We're talking about the base building. We're talking about the tenant. What's the role of the systems integrator when a building has decided to deploy a SmartSpaces system? And to me, what it sounds like is they're a key component, not somebody that needs to be put to the side.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And we always want them to, we don't mind if they take all the cred revenue. It's like we want them to be incentivized. We want them to be engaged. And they're incredibly important. But we've done this for so long. We've also gone side by side and flashed every reader for them, with them, and educated them. And we still do that on a lot of projects today. But depending on which integrator you're working with, if it's new, mobile's new, we handhold them through the whole experience. Whereas, some are really up to speed and
right.
Quite sophisticated.
At that point when they're trained, I think that's what I see, great success in. That you're in your swim lane running fast, they're in their swim lane, and it's just a match made in heaven. When you're fighting with each other, it's just confusion.
Yep.
And one of the biggest frustrations in the industry I see, at least here in North America, is those delayed implementations. Some customers are waiting months. They agree in principle they want it. They've signed the contract. Like, when are we going to get it? And then interest starts to wane and people just drift off.
Yeah, I agree.
At what level are you talking to the end user? So from a base building perspective, are you in with the owner's rep? Are you in with the landlord? Like, where is it? IT people making the decision? Is it security people making the decision? Like, who are the stakeholders that you're typically involved with?
Yeah, it varies from building to building. Yeah, big time. So it's like sometimes it's the management company, sometimes it's the landlord, sometimes it's the integrator because we can sell through channel. So it changes building to building. And then they're the ones who typically introduce us to occupiers. But then a lot of the time we've worked with occupiers where they've introduced us to the landlord because the booking systems we've built are enterprise grade. So we have like big brands, like even on our analytics now, some of our most busiest sites in the world don't have mobile access. They are just desk booking, meeting room booking. I say just, but it's a huge piece to them. It's the catering, it's the wayfinding, it's the car parking, it's the lockers. We have huge deployments that we're still trying to convince them to go mobile. And so I think that's helped us grow in the enterprise space, which sort of can grow on its own or can grow through landlords.
I'm curious, going back in time, you go to college for graphic design. Your brother, similar web design, ends up as an electrician. What aspects of your traditional education have you brought to SmartSpaces?
Yeah, it's all user experience. Yeah, making the app really easy to use, making the app look really good, like something someone's proud of. We typically follow the brand guidelines from our clients, but we add a bit. We try and enhance it. We animate things. We just make it look really good, and they end up being really proud of that. And SmartSpaces falls into the background, and it's their app. Not that's the funniest one. So many of them wouldn't even know that we build the app. Right. I was even with a client in the US this morning in New York, and they went, "Well, you make our global app." It's like, "Oh, right. We thought you just done the mobile access piece." Like, no, that entire app is our platform, but we've branded it for you, and so you don't know it's us in the background. They're like, "Wow." It's funny.
All right, so it is lightning round time.
Cool.
I got some questions here, and just first thing that pops into your head. So we'll start with this one, which is, what is the most outdated idea in the access control industry that needs to die?
Oh, yeah. I think that plastic cards are more secure than mobile. Yeah.
Get no argument from here. What's a technology outside of security that inspires your work?
I think it is definitely the application of AI into our platform, because the amount of data we collect can be unwieldy to the end user, and you do require training to create a report. It doesn't take very long, but 10 minutes to drag 2 dates and select the fields you want and render a report. Having deployed AI in our product, you just ask for the report you want and it's rendered for you. No training. So saving me money, saving my customer time. My customers then empowered to ask new questions they haven't thought of before. They can also leave things incredibly last minute. Some of them have bragged that they've taken our app into the meeting with their boss, and they're just messaging under the thing saying, "Oh yeah, we had this many visitors last week."
Make them look like a hero.
Yeah, so I'd say that is. I know it's always the cheesy one, but we're seeing real value from this. So,
well, actually, it's interesting you say that, because your business starts before AI's proliferation, and now you're starting to incorporate it. Are you seeing, obviously there's benefits to AI, but do you see any sort of benefits on the back end, on the business side of it? Like your application of AI in your own back end systems, is that making you more efficient, or is it just buzzwords?
Oh, no, massively. Yeah. Testing, writing tests like unit tests, the scaffolding for new integrations. We're over 100 different ACS systems integrated on the platform.
Wow.
It definitely improves the speed we onboard new systems. We was already pretty quick, but this is massively enhanced that.
If a security professional is watching this, which I certainly hope they are, what advice would you give them sort of in this brave new world, AI, companies like SmartSpaces, what should they be investing in terms of education?
I definitely think it's worth looking at all the SaaS products or the products your business use, and then approaching those companies and asking them to demo the best implementation of AI within their products. If they haven't got it, I think you should start looking for others that haven't. But for those that do, get the demos from them and look for real life case studies. And each department in our business have done that. So customer success have gone out to Atlassian and been working with Jira to automate a lot of our help desk. Our software team use GitHub Copilot, and also experiment. Everything we use has to go through our InfoSec team, so sometimes it takes a little while to get the new system onboarded. But don't be afraid to drop systems as well.
Sure.
We've definitely had systems that we felt we had an awful lot of data stored in that platform. But when we've seen a new entrant come into the market that's been able to prove that they're more streamlined and they're able to really utilize AI, that will move. And so, definitely you need to start experimenting. And some things have failed as well. Some things have actually been more convoluted as well.
Right.
So you definitely,
Well, so it's not the magic bullet that I think everybody thinks it is too, right? So, our platform is powered by AI. Well, what does that mean, and how does it work? And is it even a good application of AI, right? They're not all the same.
I think, that's something where that's going wrong almost, is like they're setting the expectation too high. I think actually if they'd lowered the expectation, we would think this is the best thing ever. Yeah, but where it's saying it's going to replace your job, and you think, well, I don't think it is at the moment. It will do very eventually. But, need to cool that off a little bit and say, look, it's not going to replace your job, but it's definitely going to help you. And I think we're already to that phase that if you took it away,
big time.
Yeah, it's almost like the Wi-Fi going.
Right. What would you say is an emerging trend that people are underrating right now? What's underrated?
What's underrated? I think probably the chat interface and the voice interface. I think voice interface has been underrated for a long time. We've had an Alexa skill for a long, long time and Siri shortcuts, and they've not been utilised as much as we'd hoped they would. And they're still not really at the moment.
What could you ask Alexa to do?
What temperature you want, what lighting scene you want, send a visitor invite, book a meeting room, cancel a meeting room. Everything, all the methods that are available on our app are available in our skill.
What's the hesitancy around that? Like, what do you think the pushback is?
And maybe the
talking to a machine?
Voice. Well, I think voice in the office. It's like voice. Yeah, whereas at home I could see, because we've got SmartSpaces deployed in my house, which my wife hates. Actually, she goes, "Why can't we just buy light switches?" Which is sometimes valid actually when there's a software update or something. But yeah, I think the skills are very popular in the home. The voice activated commands, but not so much in the workplace. But I think that's going to change. I think obviously there's always security implications, but that's improving now with voice print and stuff. So I think that's going to be a good one. I think obviously with your text prompts and stuff, I think where people are so fast at typing, to go and find a page to open an app, if you can just do this through your native AI interface, makes sense.
I also think something you said there strikes a nerve with me in terms of undervalued technologies is shortcuts in iOS. It's so powerful. Yeah. And there's a bit of a learning curve. But if you can get it, oh man, the automations that my favorite automation is I drive to Costco. It throws me into a Costco focus mode. It brings up the Costco app. It opens up my membership and it texts my wife and says, "I'm at Costco. Do you need anything?"
That's good.
You see,
I like that.
And it solves so many problems for me in my life. Because then the alternative is you went to Costco and you didn't tell me.
Yeah, nice. We have a very powerful monitors and action system on our platform, which can monitor any data input that we have, and so things like monitoring the tube stations or the subway here, and then notifying you towards the end of the day that you might want to leave earlier.
Wow.
Those kind of things.
That's very powerful.
Yeah,
intuition almost.
Yeah. Also like things like when you're reaching capacity, we can do capacity-based HVAC control rather than CO2, because CO2 tends to be a laggard. It builds up. By the time you flood a load of fresh air in here, we've already left.
Right.
Whereas with the capacity, the moment that many people have come through the turnstile, we can ramp it up. So it's a lot smarter doing it that way.
And what would you say is emerging tech that's overrated?
Oh, overrated. That's interesting. Because I'm such a tech fan, nothing ever seems to be that overrated to me, because I love it. I love it all. I'm the one using the really niche features.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know. I think that where we see in buildings struggle, I think that some of the ones that are overrated are some of the energy saving platforms that say you can just point this system to a building and it's going to optimize it and give you a 25% return in perpetuity. And we're seeing that's not the case because of the fragmented systems within a building or the bad behavior that you can implement a system and then a tenant makes a load of complaints, they're hot and cold. So I think some of the AI building automation systems for saving energy, some of the experience we've had from seeing some of our peers in the market has been overhyped.
Capabilities a little overblown.
Yeah. But also the customer has been not very well educated in terms of they have got a really old building.
Yeah.
And they think this is a silver bullet to make this building as modern as something that's been developed yesterday. And that's not the case.
It's a capability versus expectation kind of thing. Yeah. You can't expect a 150-year-old building or older to perform like a more modern building.
But you made me think of something there, is that maybe something that people get misunderstood with our business is that they think that it all relies on the app. And we are a cloud system. And it's API driven. So you can use a chat interface through OpenAI or your choice of AI agent. You can utilize the web interface. You can bring our API into your own application. The app is just the thin client we use today. You don't have to have the app, which is one thing we always want to get across to our customers.
So could you see a future in the not so distant future of like somebody just going to ChatGPT and saying, "Hey, I need a badge for the building today"?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we've got that in our own office in London. So, yeah, we've been utilising different interfaces for a long time, hence doing the voice skill.
Sure. Last question. One prediction you're willing to go on record with today, like look in your crystal ball 5 years from now, what prediction would you make about our space or your space in particular in commercial real estate?
I would say that I don't think we're going to get replaced by AI as quick as a lot of podcasts make out.
Good news.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, so hopefully, so my prediction is that we might be doing this podcast again in 5 years' time. Yeah, I definitely think it's going to improve, but I'm not seeing the AGI that's going to take away our jobs yet.
No, digital God has not been invented yet.
No, no.
And probably not for another 5 years.
Yeah.
That's certainly the utopian view. We've had others in here with the dystopian view of robots are taking over tomorrow.
Yeah.
No,
maybe not quite tomorrow.
It's funny, we actually built a robot receptionist that's in our office now. And it just works quite well in terms of, like, you know, one of the things that happens in our office, it's not always great, is that the reception team go on lunch and close the reception, and actually 1 p.m. is quite a popular time to invite someone for a meeting. So, but we have this robot receptionist that you can, like, it's got a tablet and you can have your QR code, you can check in, you get directions and explanations. And it's a good assistant, but it's not replaced the reception. But I do think probably, you know, autonomous vehicles is already having a huge impact. So there are going to be swathes of jobs replaced, sadly, or maybe it's better longer term. But yeah, I think the real thing where we, you know, it's AGI and we're all replaced is, I think that's a bit further
off into the future.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
We can delay Skynet for now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Dan, if somebody wants to learn more about SmartSpaces or get a demo, where do they go? Where do they start the journey?
I'd search Dan Drogman on LinkedIn, actually. It's probably the best way to connect on LinkedIn. We find LinkedIn's an incredibly powerful platform for communication and marketing.
I agree.
But yes, but, you know, also can check out smartspaces.app.
Fantastic. Dan, thanks so much for your time.
Brilliant. Thank you. Cheers.
Today's episode is brought to you by HID Mobile Access, the most secure and convenient way to open doors with the device you already use every day. With HID, organizations get flexible, future-ready solutions that easily integrate into workplace and tenant experience apps, creating a seamless journey from street to suite. If you're ready to modernize your access control experience, try it for yourself. Sign up for a free trial at hidglobal.com/solutions and click on Mobile Access.